Hey guys, welcome back. Romney Navarro again, Think Realty Resident Expert, CEO, Streamline Funding. If you didn't catch the first part of the series, you probably want to go back because a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about will likely lose you. I'm going to spend little time talking about the base numbers. I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about the strategy. We covered the base numbers in that first video, so definitely go back and check that out if this is the first one that you're catching. What are we talking about? We're talking about the cost of a partner. The cost of a partner in a real estate deal. I tried to break it down to a very simplified set of numbers, and at the highest level, what we're talking about is a flip. Okay, we're talking about buying a house for $250,000, putting $75,000 of improvements into it, and then later selling it for $400,000. That's the base structure that we're working with. In the previous video, we talked about all cash. What I meant by that is you have a partner who provides you all the cash to transact in this deal. If you're buying a house for $250,000 and you're putting $75,000 into renovations, that $325,000, the total, your partner invested $325,000 to see your deal through. That was the first video. The second video's got a little bit of a caveat. You still want to go and get a partner. However, you're going to use the partner and leverage their money, okay? You're going to go out and get a bank loan, a private lender loan, an actual institutional loan on your deal. Just about every single time this is going to work out in your favor, okay, financially. But what this does, the difference between an all cash partner, somebody that provides the $325,000, and a partner, a smaller partner, somebody that provides the down payment on a deal, so then you could go and get a loan, is you don't have to raise as much money. In that first scenario, that last set of videos that we were talking about raising $325,000 on a deal. Many of us can, many of us can't. But if you're in the group that can't, it's going to be easier to go and talk to a partner and say, hey, I'd like a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 investment, and I'd like to be invested with you. You see what I mean? It's easier to get a $50,000 commitment than it is to get a $325,000 commitment. And that's what we're going to be talking about right now, is leveraging up your partner's cash. They're going to be working on your down payment. Somebody like me is going to finance your loan. So let's break it down. We already have the table set. $250,000 for an acquisition, $75,000 for a renovation, but what else now needs to be paid? There's going to be a lender involved here. Lenders charge fees. That's how we make a living. So too do real estate agents, so too do title companies, so too do all these people that are involved in the transaction. These guys right here, I'm going to just give you a real simple number, but these guys right here charge anywhere between 1% and 5%. It's going to vary depending on where you're at, what your credit is, what the condition of the property, you name it. For this example, I'm going to say that there's going to be a 2% charge on your deal, and we're going to just call that finance and closing costs. So you're $250 for the purchase, $75 for the renovation, and now we're going to stack another $6,500 for your finance cost and closing costs. So instead of $325, that's been the baseline that we've been working with. Now all of a sudden your cost to actually acquire this piece of real estate has gone up to $331,500. All right. Man, there's a lot of numbers to unpack. I really do wish you guys listened to that first video and took my advice. The advice that I gave was email residentexpert@streamlinefunding.com. I will send you a copy of this very same spreadsheet that I'm working off of. It's so much easier to follow when you're actually plugging away as compared to just hearing some guy like me talk about a bunch of numbers. But since I'm talking about a bunch of numbers, let me keep breaking it down. That deal, your baseline now is $331,500. I'm a lender. I'm going to charge you approximately 8% to borrow the money. Okay, keep that in mind because it's going to come around full circle in just a moment. So you sell the property for $400,000. You pay your real estate commissions, your closing costs, so on and so forth. It's about $24,000, and you're left with $376,000. Well, now you have $376,000. What do you do with it? First and foremost, you have to pay back the lender. In the scenario, I never talked about the loan amount. But in this scenario, I lent you approximately $292,000 to do this project, okay? So with your $376,000, you pay me back my $292,000, okay? And then where'd the rest of the money come from? This is the important one, guys. The rest of the money came from your partner. In this scenario, your partner invested approximately $48,750. Why I say approximately is because a lot of things could change. I'm assuming a couple things happened here. I'm assuming this loan, this deal, took 5 months to complete. So in the very beginning, your partner, your investor, invested the down payment on the transaction. I can't tell you the exact number of the down payment, but it's basically $331,500 minus my loan of $292,500. Not going to try to do the quick math, but I think you catch my drift. He or she makes that investment. Then every month you owe the lender a monthly interest payment. He or she makes that interest payment for you, okay? In this scenario, they made that interest payment 5 times. So those 5 interest payments plus their down payment puts them at a total investment of $48,750. Ton of numbers again, right? Well, let's break it down further. You grossed $376. You paid us back our $292,500, and you now pay back their $48,750. Everybody's even, everybody's square. You're left with $34,750,000 now that is net distributable dollars. So, if you followed the first video, you remember we were playing off of $51,000 net distributable. Now, we're playing off of $34,750 net distributable. A big difference. A big difference, about $16,000, $17,000 difference. That money went to finance costs, okay? That's the difference here. However, remember, in the first scenario, you had to raise $325,000. In this scenario, you had to raise $48,000. Okay. Now there's $34,000 left to split. What do? This first scenario that we're talking about right now is a 50-50 split. So you have $34,000. You keep $17,300. Your investor keeps $17,300. Good deal for everybody. They only put at risk $49,000 versus $325,000. You still put in at risk $0 and made a nice return. So this is the first thing we're talking about in this particular video. This is financed with a partner, okay, paying the down payment and with a 50-50 split. The next version, very similar, but now we're going to go back to that thing that you learned in the first video, a pref. Cutting right through all of the numbers, remember once the deal concluded, I lent you $292,500, they invested $48,750. Boom, deal is done. There's $34,750 left to split. So remember, now you have $34,750,000 in profit, but before you guys split anything, this time you're going to pay him or her a preferred return. I'm going to continue to use the 8% preferred return figure just for simplicity's sake. This deal, if they were to have invested $48,750, the preferred return, and I'm going to spare you some of the details, the preferred return over the 5 months that you use their money cost you $1,625. So it's pretty cheap. Pay them $1,600 to use their money. Great. Now you're left with a true net of $33,125. Okay, this is where the magic happens in this scenario, by the way. You've got $33,000 to split. But here's the thing. You only used $48,000 of their dollars. So instead of splitting this 50-50, after you give them a preferred return, how about you split it 80-20? You take 80, they take 20, because remember, they got their money first. They were paid and paid handsomely. So if you pay them 20%, now all of a sudden, you make them a payment of $6,625. If you keep the 80%, guys, you now make $26,500. Of the scenarios that I've explained for the last couple of videos, this is the most profitable one for you. It's also one of the preferred scenarios for investors. 9 times out of 10, when I speak to an investor looking to get into real estate and wants to invest their money passively, is sitting on $100,000, $200,000, can't necessarily go and buy the world, this is the scenario that they love. And most first-time flippers, second-time flippers, people new to the game, this is the scenario that they really excel in. So we talked about a couple of finance strategies. Finance meaning a bank gives you a loan and you get an investor to give you the down payment and make the interest payments. The first one was a 50-50 split. You ended up making something to the tune of $17,000. The second one was a preferred return with an 80-20 split. You're the 80. You ended up making $26,500. By far and away the best one that we've talked about thus far. Next time we visit, I'm going to talk about financing if you were making the investment. Not an investor, not a partner. If you were making an investment. Because here's where you're going to find out the difference, the cost, if you will, of a partner. This is what the entire video series is about. If you as an investor go and get a loan, put a down payment, and realize all of the profits, what is the cost of an investor with these other 4 strategies that we've been talking about? It's going to be interesting. I hope you stay tuned. I hope you join. As I mentioned earlier in the video, do not forget to email me on this spreadsheet. It'll be a ton of fun. You could give me some feedback, whatever you like, but I think it'll be great to kind of get your mind right on how these things work. Resident expert at streamlinefunding.com is where you could find it. Romney Navarro, Streamline Funding, Austin, Texas, is where you can find me. Look forward to the next one.